do you desire to transform in your life, your career, your health, your finances, your relationships? In our hurried and stressful world, so many people spend the majority of their day dealing with stress at work or with parental responsibilities. Sleep for a few hours, then wake up and do it all over again. Did you know that we live in a world of abundance and infinite possibilities that we can choose from? What if you could enjoy every day and maximize what you choose to create in your life? Joy of Living with Laleh offers the space to create more joy in every aspect of our lives. We are grateful you have chosen to join us. Now, here is the host of Joy of Living with Laleh radio show and transformational coach, Laleh Hancock.
Welcome to Joy of Living with Laleh show. I am your host, Laleh Hancock. Do you have a life and living target? Do you have a target for your business or career? Do you live from joy? Do you know we live in a world of abundance and possibilities, and all our targets or dreams are achievable? Sometimes we do require some inspiration, tools, sharing of success stories, or just knowing that there's hope to break down those barriers and empower us to create something new, reach that target or the next level. For over 20 years, I've dedicated my career and personal life to inspiring and empowering individuals and organizations who desire so much more. I'm a seasoned executive and entrepreneur and have been called by most as a transformational coach and a life-changing speaker. Joy of Living with Laleh is a radio show offering the space to create more joy in every aspect of your life. What if you could have more joy in your work, your meetings, your family, your finances, your body, your health, and so much more? And what if it can be so much easier than you realize? Today, we have a special show for you guys called Judging Our Bodies. Did we learn that as kids? With one of my favorite guests, Donnielle Carter. Hi, Donnielle.
Hi, Laleh. Thanks for having me on. You're one of my favorite shows to be on.
Yay!
And people to play with. How does it get better?
Well, you know, Donnielle, you have been on my show before, so some people may know you, but for the ones that don't, I'm just going to take 1 second to just share the slightest bit of information about you, and then I'm going to ask you to share more. You know, if anyone has seen anything out there related to bodies, Right Body for You, Donnielle partnered with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and is co-creating Right Body for You around the world. She's a worldwide Right Body for You facilitator, and she's also the spokesperson. So if you've seen the book Right Body for You, the beautiful picture in the front is Donnielle. And a little bit about Donnielle. So, Donnielle, I know you were in the TV industry, you were in the radio industry with your mom about nutrition. You know, tell us more about you.
Oh, wow. And the joke is like, oh, you only have an hour, because the funny part of that is I used to be extremely shy. You know, you mentioned that I did radio with my mom, and so she had a health talk radio show for 27 years. And I was in TV for 10 years in promotions. And with the radio or TV, I was always supposed to be in front of people, but I was so painfully shy that I wouldn't do it. And so now it's like, oh, we only have an hour. We have so much to talk about. 10 seconds used to terrify me of being live and in things. And so it's funny how just that has changed. And for me, really, it started with being grateful and not judging my body. And I know we're going to get to a lot of that about the judging, but, you know, I used to hate the fact that I had a body. I hate it, which when paired with the fact that my mother was a nutritionist, and so I was surrounded by nutritionists, homeopaths, naturopaths, osteopaths, master herbalists, you name it, I knew them, I still know them. And the fact that I hated that I had a body is kind of funny right off the bat. You know, it's like it's that fun duplicity that we tend to live in. And one of the ways I decided to hate my body was ignore it. Just plain old ignore it. And I it's so funny to see pictures of me from when I worked in TV. I was drab, physically drab. Not, I mean, you know, I still had a sense of humor if I could ever muster up the courage to talk to somebody, but my body was physically drab. My clothes were drab. I didn't do hair or makeup or had any fun with my body. And I actually gained a lot of weight. And that was my way of hiding from the world. Even though I knew so much about bodies, I didn't appreciate it or value it. But once I started Access Consciousness, I realized what a gift my body was and what a contribution it can be. And from then, I stopped judging it, and my body changed and my life changed, which is my favorite part. You know, it's like, yeah, your body changed. Of course, you know, you feel more confident and you're not as shy, and it's like, that's not it. Allowing the contribution of my body actually changed my whole life, and not just because the physical change.
So, Donnielle, I'm going to talk in a bit about all the different that you do around the world, but, you know, can we first start with the word judging? Because I know sometimes, you know, people don't even know they're judging their bodies. Like, what is judging?
Judging is one of those interesting words because, you know, judging is basically, according to this reality of, actually, you know what, that is curious. Let's look that up real quickly. But the judging I'm talking about is, according to this reality, we need to find basically the wrongness, okay? And we think that the way to be true to ourselves, or the way to really look at something, okay? And so when you look this up, let's see, the original definition for judgment is to form an opinion about, make a decision, and to try and pronounce a sentence upon, which, you know, we talk a lot about the energy behind things. So when you look at judge, like to pronounce a sentence upon, that doesn't actually, I don't know about you, but my body doesn't get excited at that.
Oh, so, no, not at all.
You know, and so judge is basically to come to a decision about things, okay? And so when I was saying about this reality, we have actually been taught to use judgment as the way to figure things out, as the way to know what to do, how to do, who to be, when to be, you know, find what's wrong and fix it. I have to lose 50 pounds. Well, I'm just being true and honest with myself. It's like you're also judging the crap out of yourself also. Because a lot of this, we've been taught, you know, I'll say this again, we've been taught to use judgment to collect data, to figure it out, to be able to get it right. But the problem is when we do judgment like that, we're actually solidifying all of the things that we find wrong or good about ourselves. Because even the good things can get judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the interesting things a few years ago when I took my first class in Access Consciousness. And, you know, for me, I always looked at it as though I was not a judgmental person at all, and that, you know, I didn't judge people. And I didn't realize by even just saying to someone, you know, you're beautiful, or you're thin, or whatever it is that we're saying about someone, it's like it's both sides. It's when you're not really neutral in how you're even looking at the whole person, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even, you know, my favorite is, it seems benign to say, oh, you're such a good friend. Okay, it seems benign. It seems like an acknowledgement. But in fact, it's a judgment. And the problem with judgment is once you've judged something good or bad, you lock it into place so nothing else can exist, and you cut off your awareness. You cut off the ability to receive information about what else is going on. So this thing like, oh, you are such a good friend, the definition in this reality of you are such a good friend is they will always have your back, they would never do anything against you, the one person you can count on, things like that. And so I had that. I had oh, you're such a good friend, and I cut off my awareness. So the day she started talking bad about me to other people, I didn't receive the information because I had decided and judged she was a good friend. Am I saying you can't have friends? That's not what I'm saying. But anytime you cut off your awareness, whether it's about your life or your body, with judgments, is where you start to get into trouble.
So I want to talk about that, and that's why you and I picked this topic for today, judging our bodies. You know, did we learn that as kids? So let's talk about that. Let's talk more about that. Can you guide us a little bit more on this topic?
And I kind of give it away because when you're like, did we learn that as kids? And I'm like, oh, yes, you know. And so, sorry, I already gave it away. But, you know, and look at it. And this is not to make parents wrong, okay? Please let me say this. This is not to make parents wrong. I have had an amazing mother, and she gave me so much, and all from a place of loving, okay? But it also, in that loving, in that desire to help me, so she never had malice. So you guys, judgment is not always about malice or limitation. She was doing it from the place of, let me help, let me nurture you. You know, this is my job, is to help you grow up, help you figure things out, you know, things like that. And so when, you know, she would do things like, oh, you were sick after eating Italian food. Oh, you know what, you probably have celiac disease like I do, so you can't digest bread. Boom, decision, judgment. And my body started locking those kind of things into place. Or just you know, when I'm 5'2", 3, 4, I don't know. I'm short. And it changes.
It depends on the day.
It does. I honestly, you know, we talk about bodies changing and how it's like, and, you know, it's a little side note, but bodies always think that, we always think bodies are like, oh, we've reached a height and then we stop growing. But you know what? It's not. And, you know, I can tell a story for other times, but I have been measured at 5'2". I've been measured in 5'4". And these are without heels, just flat foot. And so my body actually changes quite a bit. But, you know, going back to that, so when I'm short, at times, shorter than other times, but when I was my heaviest, when I was size 20, which I was quite morbidly obese for a while. And so, you know, my mother looked at me and she's like, and not out of you're a piece of crap, you have to do something about this, but she's like, hey, you know, let's lose some weight. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should. And what's interesting is because we're so cute and we like our fighting against things, the second that she would go something like, oh, maybe you should lose a little weight, which, you know, my body actually wanted to lose weight, but because she said things like, oh, well, you need to lose weight, I went, judgment, watch this. And I gained more weight. I remember as a kid, we had this on-air contest. Talk about setting yourself up for fun failure, right? We had this on-air, not contest, but on-air, my mother's radio show. I was in high school, and I needed to lose a little weight. And so we actually did this, watch Donnielle on air, try these different things, and start to follow her path of transformation and losing weight. And, of course, I gained more weight because I had that judgment there. Yeah, I had that judgment there. And, again, it came out of love. It came out of concern. It came out of fun. It came out of, like, motivation and all this kind of stuff. But what all these things tend to do is judgment. And even though there was some truth there, it locked me up. So it's like everywhere we think that judgment is only about the negative or the lie or the meanness. Truth would be willing to destroy and create all that.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Right, wrong, good, bad, puck on choice, boys and beyonds. Yeah, and so it wasn't about the untruth. My body actually desired to lose weight, but because I had the judgment there, which locked it up, I did the opposite. And judgment and competition actually have a similar energy, because judgment for me is like anytime you compare yourself to another and find yourself better or lacking, is judgment and competition.
Mm-hmm.
So,
when you were when you were saying, like, it locks you up, it's so interesting because what I found, I'm so grateful for these classes that you facilitate and just the amount of communication I now have, realizing how much, when I didn't even think I was judging my own body, I was actually judging it. So I think maybe it was after one of your Right Body for You classes in Houston, I was looking in the mirror, and I have a little bit of a pudge on my belly, and I would just say, hey body, what would it take for us to just let this go and not hold on to this anymore? And I didn't realize by even saying that I was judging it. And so what I did after the class is the opposite. I was like, you know what, body? I adore you. I adore every part of this body. And I know my judgments have created things that you don't even want to have on this body. So today, what do you want to look like? And I'm not going to stop you in the way you want to look like anymore. Because your body has no judgment. It's us who puts the judgments in our bodies. And our body goes, okay, that's what you want. No problem. We'll create it.
Amen.
Do you know that same day, Donnielle, my stomach was flat?
I am not surprised. That kind of stuff happens all the time. I hear it. It's amazing because people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how did you first start changing your body? I said, I got a judgment of it. But because we've been taught in this reality to use judgment to figure out how our body needs, which is a key word there, needs to change, people don't even know how to get out of judgment or what not being in judgment even looks like. So I feel some people out there going, not be in judgment of bodies. What? How? You can't even fathom how that would look or feel like or taste like or anything. And so we just had a comment in the break room or in the chat room, says, wow, and how do you step out of judgment and not just say it? Exactly. Because how many of us, and this is where we're really cute, you guys, how many of us actually use judgment to judge whether we're judging or not?
Oh, I get a lot.
Yes. And that is the story of Uncreated.
Yes.
Because even like, I did so good, I didn't judge at all today. Really? Is that a judgment? Crap.
Yeah. I'm telling you, one of the greatest magic in these classes that you facilitate, by the way, thank you for doing them. Thank you for sharing all these tools with everyone around the world. And it doesn't matter who you are taking these classes. There's kids who come for free. You've got teenagers. You've got people going in their 90s who take classes. So it's just intergenerational. But it's amazing to me. Like, truly, it's us looking at us differently. It just starts from within. And when we are willing to be the joy that we were as little kids and love our bodies and play and have fun, like, that's what our bodies really enjoy anyway, right?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And that's what I love. And it's like people think they have to come to the classes because something is wrong with their body or they want to change their body. And it's like, no, my body actually changed when I didn't care if it changed.
Yeah. Well, and you allowed it to change because you no longer had those judgments locking it in, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't know if you have time to get into this now or...
Actually, you know what? Let's do this because I'm coming up on my first break. So let's take our first break. Today you're listening to Joy of Living with Laleh and my wonderful guest, Donnielle Carter. We're talking about judging our bodies. Did we learn that as kids? We'll take a break right now and be back shortly.
Are you so busy that you have forgotten to enjoy your life and business? Are you one of the millions of people across the globe that spends the majority of your day dealing with stress at work or with parental responsibilities? What if you could create and enjoy more in your life while reaching your goals and targets with more ease and joy? On the Joy of Living with Laleh radio show with transformational coach Laleh Hancock, you'll receive tools and inspirational ideas that can be easily incorporated into your life. Are you ready to have more joy in your life, business, and living? We invite you to listen to Joy of Living with Laleh radio show every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and 2 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm.
As a kid, I was told that all sugar is bad, and yet studies have shown that the brain functions on sugar. The more you think, the more sugar you require. Wow, what else is different than what we've believed? Hi, I'm Donnielle, and I'd like to invite you to my special 3-part teleseries, Myths About Bodies We Learned as Children, August 11th through the 13th. So much of what we are creating our bodies from are the points of view we were raised with. What if there was something different? What if we are not subject to our family's history? What if putting salt on those potatoes doesn't actually ruin us? During this unique series, we will use the tools of Access Consciousness to dispel the myths that we were trying to create our life and our bodies from. Myths about bodies we learned as children. To register, please go to DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com. That's DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions? Or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is Joy of Living with Laleh, with transformational coach Laleh Hancock. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or talk, or Canada 613-800-8736, or UK-wide 4433-0001-0625. You can Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also ask a question or share a comment by email. Laleh at joyoflivingwithlaleh@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back to Joy of Living with Laleh. I am Laleh Hancock, your host for today, and we have our guest Donnielle Carter. We're talking about judging our bodies. Did we learn that as kids? So Donnielle, can we chat a little bit about the whole concept of kids and, you know, kind of like our viewpoint as kids about our bodies versus that of when we get older?
Yes, absolutely. And
just a small topic, okay?
You read my mind. I'm like, yes. You know, and it is so fun. You know, you talked before about the classes and that I have a wide variety of age ranges in there. And I actually love having kids in there because kids have so little judgment of their bodies. You know, I was at a big family gathering last night, and besides all the other people in the room, there were like 30 of them. 2 of them were 2 toddlers and 1 baby. And it's so fun to play with them and watch them discover their bodies and the joy of it and the fun of it and how they move it and how they just, you know, they don't care. You know, like so the baby is my great niece, my niece's daughter, so whatever that is. It's my niece's daughter. And then one of my other nieces I was holding my great niece, and one of my other nieces was sitting there going, oh my gosh, you do have such fat thighs. Oh my gosh, you don't have knuckles. You have finger indentations where knuckles should be. Oh my gosh, you're just so chubby and fat. And just going on and on and on. And I'm looking at the energy that my adult niece was being. And I'm like, wow, judgment, hello, judgment, judgment. And I'm with my great niece holding her. And, yeah, I use the tools, obviously. I'm like, oh, pod talk everything that is, pod talk everything you want to, like, you know, lock it into your body, that chubby cheeks or leg rolls or whatever are bad. But what was interesting is I actually took a moment and I really kind of was with my great niece, and she was just kind of looking at her like, you're kind of crazy, aren't you? What are you talking about? You know, I'm just kind of like a baby, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull your hair. No. It's just so fun. I mean, literally, she has these big eyes. You get to see her looking at her, staring at her, going, thanks, asshole, for the judgment, you know? You know, she's like 6 months old, but you can totally see it going on in the universe. And it you know, even it starts with that. It's that kind of like innocent stuff. Oh, it's baby fat, it's so cute, and blah, 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 blah. But what's interesting is going on to my adult niece's universe is I don't ever want to get fat because fat is bad, and I just lost 15 pounds, and I need to keep it off, and this kind of fat, blah, 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 blah. And then, so what do? We turn around, we're like, oh, it's so baby fat, it's so cute, da, da, da. But we have all this judgment in our universe, and then we start projecting that onto the children. And so the children who are running around and have absolutely no point of view about their body or body parts, it's like, let's get naked, woo-hoo, you know?
Yeah.
And we start to put that judgment on it. Just like my great niece and my grandnephew love to feel things and perceive things with their feet. Their body just like, they will sit there and they'll just rub their feet on you and carpet and textures and all of that kind of fun stuff. And like they're always feeling their feet and playing with it. Even though one, you know, a toddler running around, he just loves his feet. And he has no point of view that would be wrong or would be seen as weird. And he has absolutely no judgment of that playing with your feet or feeling with your feet. Because, you know, hey, he tries to feel faces with his feet sometimes.
Oh,
and he has no judgment of it. It's just,
you know,
hey,
it's
tactile, it's fun.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You're, like, bringing up all this stuff for me because, like, my whole life, it's interesting. Like, I was born in one country. With the revolution, I left that country, moved to another country, and then 4 years later left that country and moved to California. So, like, you know, I have all these different places. And I remember, like, when I was little, very little, I may have had bare feet, but for the most part, my feet were always covered with socks. And it wasn't even until I was in college that I had my first pair of open-toe shoes.
Wow.
And, and I used to think I had the ugliest toes in the world, and I don't even know where I got that from. Yeah,
exactly.
And I remember in college getting my first pedicure, and, like, you don't understand, I was, like, so uncomfortable about doing it, but I knew, like, my body wanted to do it. It was really interesting. And I did it, and I realized, oh, my God, this is so, like, pampering for my body. I love it so much. And then started wearing open-toe shoes. And even my sisters would comment how beautiful my toes were because they'd never seen it. And growing up, I realized, I'm like, wow, I actually have beautiful feet. What was I hiding, you know? But it goes back, like, when you said that to me, I'm like, oh, my God, how many adults didn't like their feet? Mm-hmm. And as a child, I picked that up.
Oh, yeah. Or it wasn't proper. Because I know some of those countries, it's like, don't go barefoot, don't show your skin, you must be a proper lady or whatever it was. And, you know,
Yeah, it's so interesting when you said that. Yeah.
And you actually hit upon something that is really, 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 really important. Not to put a significant on it, but it is important. with this judgment thing, whenever we're judging our bodies with anything, whether it's like, I'm having a good hair day or I'm having a crap hair day or whatever it is, whenever you're judging, you stop receiving, period.
Yeah.
Because even somebody could have walked up to you and said, oh my gosh, you have pretty feet. You'd be like, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're insane. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, totally. I would have thought they're crazy, for sure.
Yeah. So you actually stop receiving. But here's the thing, guys. When you stop receiving, it's not just the stopping the receiving of the energy of a compliment. You stop receiving everywhere. Okay? Yeah. And one of your body's ways to nurture itself, to change, to grow, to have vitality is actually receiving energy. And so when you're cutting off by judging your body, that receiving of energy, it is some of what keeps your body in from not moving. It actually can lock it up so you have a harder time moving. What's interesting, when I first started playing with these tools and first becoming honestly aware that I had a body. I knew I had a body, that I put clothes on it and stuff like that, but that was about as aware of me having a body as it was. So when I first started opening up my awareness and receiving information, I started looking. I lived in a 55 and older community, which is very funny that I had this unhealthy body that could hardly move, and I was living in a 55 and older community at the time, a retirement community. And so I started looking at the people who lived in that community. And what was interesting is, I know we're talking about children, and then I go to older people, but hey, it all blends. But, what starts as children ends up as the adults. And what's interesting is there were some people there who, like my stepfather, who was in his 70s, would go water skiing, hiked, did all of this amazing stuff. And then there were some people in like their 60s or even just 55 who could hardly move. I mean, physically could hardly move. And, we usually take a look at that and go, oh, well, my stepdad won the lottery jackpot. I'm sorry, the DNA lottery. He hit the jackpot, and he just got a good body, or he takes care of it really well. And all those people who are unhealthy and can't move, they just obviously aren't taking care of it well, and they had bad DNA to start with, and all this kind of stuff. But what's interesting is when I started talking to these people, people like my stepdad had very little judgment and was constantly willing to look at things, shift and change and get rid of it, whereas people who could hardly move were very firm in their decisions. They're like, no, this is the way it is. Boom. And it doesn't just not about bodies, but about life. Yeah. And it impacted their bodies, which is why when we're talking about the kids, let's head it off at the path, up this stuff before it takes root.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like people say, when you surround yourself with happy people, you tend to be happy, and it's the same thing. It's like when you're around people who are willing to create more change in their lives or in their bodies or wherever they're willing to receive that, you have more of that too. So it's funny, like we learn all of these things from such a young age to start mimicking and being our parents, being our support system, watching the media. We haven't even tapped into this. I mean, we said learning it as a child, but as a child didn't mean just from your parents. It's all the things, all the factors that are in your life. And today, the internet, which wasn't even available when you and I were little, but like all these other places where people are telling you how you need to look to be healthy, quote, right? Or what you need, all these things. So let's talk about that too.
Oh, well, I was so good at that, honestly. And what I mean by so good at that is I was in marketing and TV promotions, okay? Mm-hmm. So my age range was 12 to 34. And so it was my job to tell these people how to live, what to look like, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how you're cool, when you're not cool, and all of those kind of warm, fuzzy things. And you know what? I was good at my job. And I'm sure it had an impact on my body. Matter of fact, I know it had an impact on my body. And so I can tell you guys all, it's all lies. It's really interesting. That, way before access consciousness, or right body for you, but, those moments you can look back upon your life and went, yes, I was at least aware of something once. I followed that intuition or that knowing.
Yeah.
Right. I was promotion manager, and so I was a part of a sales and marketing convention that this television network had. So it was a bunch of salespeople and then a few promotion managers. And I remember them sitting there and talking about getting consumers addicted to their products as toddlers and then keeping them and basically telling them how to grow. And I'm like, holy crap, media is raising our children. And I have to get out of this business because I can't be a part of that. And so, and a lot has come to light lately, which is exciting, about the photoshopping or airbrushing of photos and stuff like that. And still people judge themselves against it, And, and one tip I would really like to give people is, we have been taught by self-help, by weight loss, by energy or exercise, is find the picture of a celebrity you admire, or a celebrity you want to be like, or a body type that you think you want to be, or that picture in high school, or, we have all been told to use that as a motivation. I can't emphasize enough, please don't do that, okay? Because all that is doing is judging that you're not that. Every time you look at that, you judge, well, I'm not that. And what does that do to your body? It makes it go, okay, I'm not that yet, okay? And you won't ever be that because you're not their body. You are not that body. You're not even the body that you were in high school. So I don't care if it was a picture of who you were. You are not that person. And I'm not just talking about, oh, yes, you can't be the body you were in high school because you're 20 years older. That's not what I'm talking about. You are physically different. Just on a physical level, your cells renew themselves every 7 years. So every 7 years, you're actually an entirely different person. And that's just a scientific level, not a talking energetic level about how fast you can change. And so you are not that person. So every time you look at that, you go into judgment. You go into, that's not me. I suck. I'm not enough. And so trust me, those pictures are not a way to get out of judgment. It's not a way to motivate. It's a way to feel bad about yourself and a way to judge yourself and your body into oblivion. So please, don't do it.
So, Donnielle, I know we have less than an hour on this radio show, and you're going to tell us after the next break, all the great things, different ways that you are able to share these tools with others. But, give us one tool or two or questions to ask or something, because there's so many people out there, and people listen to me all around the world.
Yeah.
And they do have whatever is going on in their bodies right now. So, what's a starting question or a place where they can even start getting out of judgment of themselves?
Honestly, my favorite tool to get out of judgment is to be grateful for your body. It sounds simplistic, but it's actually true. And let me talk a little bit about the difference between love and gratitude, okay? Because when I say be grateful for your body, I am not talking about loving your body, okay? People ask me all the time, they're like, well, your life must be better now that you love your body. I'm like, I don't love my body. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm grateful for my body. Yeah. And they just look at me confused, which, is a fun look to receive from people because, I like playing with people's minds. But with the love, how do you know if you love someone? How do you know if you love your body? What do you use to determine if you love somebody or something? You use judgment.
Yep.
I love this person because they're this, or that. Everything after because is judgment. Gratitude has no judgment in it, okay? And you can be grateful for somebody who drives you crazy. Like, I am grateful for people who, you know, in this reality, I would say they drive me crazy. I don't really like them. But you know what? I am so grateful for them as they are, with no judgment and no desire for them to change. Because you know what? I get so many awarenesses, so many ahas, so many whatever. And you know what? And if I'm judging them as I love them or I don't, or I hate them or whatever it is, I am actually cutting off my capacity to receive from them. Okay? Because we all have those people we don't like to work with. And if we have to work with them and we're in the judgment of I hate you, then you know what? You can't receive them doing anything for you or for your business or in a team. Okay? So this is why I'm talking about gratitude, because I can be grateful for these people and everything they do and not party with them on Friday night. Totally different thing. So one of the quickest ways to get out of judgment of your body is to be grateful for it. Is to find something to be grateful for. Even if it's your pudgy stomach, if you have it with no gratitude, if you have it with no judgment, it's just gratitude. It's like, wow, thank you for giving me the pudgy stomach that I asked for. Or, thank you, body. Thank you, body. I'm so grateful that we can feel, you know, laughter. Laughter is one of my body's favorite ab exercises, honestly. You know, you have
me too.
Yeah. Have you ever done that where you've laughed so hard you can feel your stomach muscles? Exactly, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful that the body sticks with me. I'm grateful that I can feel a hug. I'm grateful that my body lets me know when there's danger around. Even though I might not see it, it alerts me. You know, there's so many things to be grateful for your body for, and the gratitude doesn't have the judgment in it. And so what I suggest people is to say, every time you find yourself judging, stop, literally. So sometimes I will say that to myself. I'll say, okay, stop, and podpoc everything that is, use the tools of access consciousness and the right body for you, podpoc everything that is, and then I step out of the judgment that way and step into the gratitude. And so I will go, okay, so podpoc everything. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm having a bad hair day. Okay, podpoc everything that is. And thank you, body. I'm so grateful that, you know, we have hair on our head today.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, it sounds simplistic, you guys, but please use it. It's one of the most dynamic tools I can actually give you. Okay, so step out of the judgment and into the gratitude. And then what happens is that gratitude you become more and more familiar and comfortable with. And so that's more of the space that you and your body will choose.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Now we're going to take our second break. You're listening to Joy of Living with Laleh with my guest today, Donnielle Carter from Right Body for You. We're talking about judging our bodies. Did we learn that as kids? And we're going to take just a quick short break and be right back.
Are you so busy that you have forgotten to enjoy your life and business? Are you one of the millions of people across the globe that spends the majority of your day dealing with stress at work or with parental responsibilities? What if you could create and enjoy more in your life while reaching your goals and targets with more ease and joy? On the Joy of Living with Laleh radio show with transformational coach Laleh Hancock, you'll receive tools and inspirational ideas that can be easily incorporated into your life. Are you ready to have more joy in your life, business, and living? We invite you to listen to Joy of Living with Laleh radio show every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and 2 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm.
As a kid, I was told that all sugar is bad, and yet studies have shown that the brain functions on sugar. The more you think, the more sugar you require. Wow, what else is different than what we've believed? Hi, I'm Donnielle, and I'd like to invite you to my special 3-part teleseries, Myths About Bodies We Learned as Children, August 11th through the 13th. So much of what we are creating our bodies from are the points of view we were raised with. What if there was something different? What if we are not subject to our family's history? What if putting salt on those potatoes doesn't actually ruin us? During this unique series, we will use the tools of Access Consciousness to dispel the myths that we were trying to create our life and our bodies from. Myths about bodies we learned as children. To register, please go to DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com. That's DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com.
This is Joy of Living with Laleh, with transformational coach Laleh Hancock. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or talk, or Canada 613-800-8736, or UK-wide 4433-0001-0625. You can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask a question or share a comment by email. Laleh at joyoflivingwithlaleh@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back to Joy of Living with Laleh and my guest, Donnielle Carter. We're talking about judging our bodies. Did we learn them as kids? So in our amazing chat room, it looks like we have a question that might take a little bit longer than today's show. So Donnielle, what do you think? Can we explore this question in a simplified way?
I can try in like just a couple of sentences. I'm like, oh, this is such a good question, and I'm aware of the time that we have. The question is, my hubby stood on the scale and gained 5 pounds. He laughed, no judgment. Where did women become so afflicted with judgment? I could not believe. She can't even imagine stepping on the scale and having the numbers increase and laughing. And and what's interesting is with this comes up stereotypes. And stereotypes are nothing but judgments, nothing but pigeonholes that we've been put into. It's easier for men to lose weight. Judgment. Women, it's okay if men gain a few pounds because that's no big deal, but a few pounds on a woman, that's atrocious. You won't be attractive. You won't find a man. You won't have him have sex with you, and then you won't perpetuate the species, and oh my gosh, you're a failure as a woman. Judgment isn't always about the things that are said out loud. Oftentimes, the judgments that get us are the judgments underneath. Because, you'll notice by that little rant I did, I first said, it's easier for men to lose weight than it is for women. Or men can gain a little weight and look good, and women, it's horrible if women gain a little weight. But then there's so many other judgments underneath that, as you guys noticed by my little rant about going to having children and failing as a woman. And so it's like these judgments are not just one layer, you guys. And so another tip I could give really quickly is don't judge yourself. I know this is cute, but what I'm saying is don't judge yourself. It's like, I thought I talked that judgment. I thought I got rid of it. And it's like, this stuff tends to be layered. And so if something else comes up, just acknowledge that you're able to, now that you have gotten rid of that first judgment, you're able to receive the underlying judgments that were also keeping that in place. So instead of judging, oh my gosh, I thought I got rid of that, I'm such a failure, acknowledge, okay, so this is the next layer. Good for me, I got rid of the other judgment, now let's get rid of this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I'm like, don't judge yourself, because especially something like bodies, oh my gosh, this is just the tip of the iceberg as we know. So that's my very quick, concise.
And Lori, thank you so much for the question.
Thank you.
So Donnielle, we do have only a few more minutes left on today's show, but I would love listeners all around the world just to know more about where they find you, where are your classes, and what do you have coming up soon?
Oh, well, oh my gosh. Probably the couple of the things I have coming up that are the most exciting is I actually have a teleseries coming up called Myths About Bodies We Learn as Children. I know. The more I started talking about this, I know, shocking, right? But really, the more I started talking about this topic, and I did a radio show on it as well, and each time it's different, but each time there's so much energy around that we learn these things as kids. Like, one of my favorites is all sugar is bad for you, but yet your brain runs on sugar. So, those late night study nights where, you're eating everything in sight, it's not just because you're bored and trying to stay awake. Your body is actually requiring that stuff to be able to help you keep functioning and, retaining this kind of stuff. And so we're going to take 3 days and get rid of all those points of view, all those judgments. And it's a 3-day intensive, boom, boom, boom. It's a teleseries, so it's 90 minutes each day. So it's not like a 3-day class you have to come somewhere with. But it is just a 3-part teleseries. 90 minutes, you get a process loop, you get recordings of the class. I'm so excited about this series. My body tingles at the thought of it. And you go to Donnielle Carter.accessconsciousness.com, DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com, and there you'll also find the Houston Right Body for You 3.5-day workshop where we go into all of the stuff in depth, and we have a great time doing it. Talk about bodies, earth, money, pain, sex, little things.
Yeah. And what I love about your classes, Donnielle, is truly what you're willing to be as a facilitator in the class. It's not about you having all the information, but it is about you being willing to just invite everybody to also start asking themselves and their bodies questions so that they're learning the tools for themselves. So when they leave your class, they're still able to take all that information and apply it into their day-to-day lives versus, some classes it's like, oh, the facilitator has all the information, and the only time I know the information is if I'm in that class. So really, thank you for all of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about it. This is like, here's a tool, go use it, let me know if you have any questions, have fun,
and the other thing I want to share with people is that, I came from the business world, and in the business world, I may have not thought that this class even applied to my life, because it didn't apply to my career. But what I love also about all your classes and all the Access Consciousness classes is that you have everybody from all walks of life and all ages that take these classes, and they're able to contribute to their own lives, their own living, their friends and family, whatever. They can incorporate to their life. So it's not about, certain types of people and only they take your classes.
No. Basically, the only requirement to come to my class is you have a body. And that's kind of a joke because we get entities all the time. So it's open to everybody.
Great. Now, I know you're also picking up some fun other classes that you did not mention here. So I just tell people, remember that link that she gave you, DonnielleCarter.accessconsciousness.com. will get you to all of her upcoming classes, and she has a few others that she's actually adding into 2015. So you can travel around the world with her.
And I have a show on A to Zen, Right Body for You, so check it out.
Yes, that's right. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Mountain, is that correct? Or 2 p.m. Mountain?
2 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
2 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Right Body for You. And you get to have Donnielle, for 1 hour of all Donnielle. And her special guest, too. All her special guests. Well, listen, we only have a couple of more minutes. So, Donnielle, thank you so much for being here with me today. And thank you for all the great tools that you've shared with us. And also how to get out of our own way and really start trusting our bodies and getting into asking questions. So thank you again for joining Joy of Living with Laleh and my guest, Donnielle Carter. So we'll see you guys next week on Joy of Living with Laleh, 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. East Coast. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Joy of Living with Laleh radio show. Laleh Hancock will return next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and 2 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm. We look forward to you joining us. Until then, we wish you a fabulous week filled with joy and infinite possibilities.